Hello audience, today we will learn about the country of Georgia. Welcome. Georgia is an independent country, not to be confused with the state of Georgia in the USA. The country is located in the Caucasus region, which we often refer to as the Kafkas or Kapkazar region. This is a strip of land between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, on the imaginary border between Asia and Europe. Georgia lies in this region, bordering Turkey and Armenia to the south, Azerbaijan to the southeast, and Russia to the northeast and north. The west borders the Black Sea. Geographers often choose the Greater Caucasus mountain range, which is the border between Georgia and Russia, as the dividing line between Asia and Europe. Georgia lies to the south, so it belongs to Asia. According to the United Nations Geographic Division, Georgia is part of Western Asia. However, in many cases, they consider themselves part of Europe. As we know, in sports, Georgia is a member of the European Football Federation, participating in the Euro and other European competitions instead of Asian ones. In fact, the country's foreign policies are also directed towards the West. In 2022, when Russia launched a military campaign against Ukraine, Georgia applied for membership in the European Union (EU), and is also aiming to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization (NATO). Georgia covers an area of 69,700 square kilometers, about one-fifth the size of Vietnam, with a population of 3.7 million people, equivalent to the population of Thanh Hoa Province. The majority of the population, 35%, lives in the capital Tbilisi, located slightly to the east of the country. Within Georgia's territory, there are two de facto independent regions: the Republic of Abkhazia with a population of about 245,000 people and the Republic of South Ossetia with a population of about 56,000 people. Additionally, Georgia has the Autonomous Republic of Adjara, a high autonomous territory. However, unlike Abkhazia and South Ossetia, Adjara remains legally and practically under the sovereignty of this country. Georgia's coastline is about 315 kilometers long, and as we see, about two-thirds of it belongs to Abkhazia. No country's name is more politically significant, and the use of its name is a struggle on many fronts like Georgia. In 2011, the government requested countries to stop calling them Gruzia and switch to the international transliteration Georgia. Being called Georgia is particularly important to them. Why is that? We will somewhat understand when looking back at their turbulent history. Located at a crossroads, a meeting point of many cultures and continental trade, their position is quite sensitive and is a contested area of influence by many empires. On average, every 1 to 2 centuries, a major power would invade their territory, and nearly every empire in Central Asia and the Middle East that emerged would pass through this crossroads, not counting the prehistoric era. State structures in Georgia began with the first kingdoms in the west along the Black Sea coast around the 6th century BC, with the Kingdom of Colchis and the Kingdom of Iberia in the east. Around the 4th century BC, do not confuse this Iberian kingdom with the Iberian Peninsula in Spain and Portugal. In the early years AD, although the Roman Empire had influences and military interventions in Georgia, especially in the Western Caucasus region, Georgia never became an official and long-term part of the Roman Empire. Georgia maintained a certain level of independence and autonomy. However, this area repeatedly became a battleground in conflicts between the Roman Empire, later the Byzantine Empire, and the Persian empires. In the early 4th century, when the king of Iberia chose Christianity as the official religion and closely allied with the Romans, conflicts between these empires intensified. In 363, after a defeat to the Persian Sasanian Empire, Rome handed over control of Iberia to this empire. The competition between the two powers was replaced by the Arab invasion in the 7th century. From then until the 12th century, Georgia was under Arab control, mostly by followers of Islam. However, the culture was not greatly affected, and most of Georgia's territory retained their faith. In the late 12th century, a king named David IV rose to power. He secured independence for Georgia and initiated a golden age. Georgia expanded its territory and became one of the strong countries in the region. This lasted for nearly 2 centuries until the 13th and 15th centuries, when Georgia faced numerous invasions again, this time from the Mongol Empire and Timur Empire in the east. In the 16th to 18th centuries, it was the turn of the Ottoman Empire and Persia from the west and south. At this time, another powerful force, the Russians in the north, emerged. By the early 19th century, nearly the entire Caucasus region, including Georgia, was annexed into the Russian Empire. From here, political and social life changed dramatically. After the Russian Revolution, the Russian Empire collapsed, and Georgia declared independence in 1918, existing as a democratic country but briefly. In 1921, the Red Army of the Soviet Union occupied this area, making it part of the Soviet Union. Georgia, including Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and Adjara, became the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic within the Soviet Union. The name Georgia is transcribed nearly similarly to Georgia. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Georgia declared independence from the Soviet Union. However, the country faced internal conflicts, especially in Abkhazia and South Ossetia. We will talk a bit about this issue at the end of the video. Back to the naming issue, the people of this country seem to prefer being called Georgia because the Latinization from ancient languages means land of gray wolves or land of farmers. This name has existed since at least the 13th century, and they dislike being called Gruzia because it originates from Russian. Since gaining independence, the government has actively removed the name Gruzia as it originates from Russian. This is one of their foreign policy goals. As we also know, they are oriented towards Western countries in economics, culture, and military. Currently, Georgia is a member of the Council of Europe, the European Organization for Aviation Security, the Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization, etc. Georgia is one of the most mountainous countries in Europe if considered a European country. Located near the heart of the Caucasus region, this country is nestled within two major mountain ranges. The Greater Caucasus Range in the north runs along the border with Russia, featuring spectacular heights commonly from 1,500 to 2,000 meters, and many areas exceeding 3,000 meters above sea level. Georgia has Mount Shkara, reaching 5,193 meters, higher than Mont Blanc in the Alps by 400 meters. To the south, bordering Turkey and Armenia, lies the Lesser Caucasus Range, with heights from 1,400 to 1,600 meters. The two mountain ranges are connected by the Surami Range in the middle, slightly lower. This divides the country into two parts. The eastern part along the Black Sea is the lowland region of Caucasus from 3 to 30 meters and the eastern plateau from 100 to 200 meters. These are also the two populated areas of the country. Georgia has about 25,000 rivers, many of which provide power to the country's numerous hydroelectric plants. Water flows from the mountains in both directions, into the Black Sea in the west and towards the Caspian Sea in the east through Azerbaijan. The largest river is the Kara, approximately 1,364 kilometers long, flowing from northeastern Turkey through the eastern plain of Georgia, through the capital Tbilisi, and into the Caspian Sea. As we see, the terrain of this country is part of the Greater Caucasus Range with high peaks and many valleys below with mountain towns almost isolated from the outside world. Another fact is that Georgia has two settlements located at 2,345 meters and 2,100 meters above sea level, higher than any other settlements in Europe. To the west of the country, there is also a cave called Veritkina, the deepest cave in the world, at a depth of 2,212 meters. Overall, natural conditions make infrastructure development, transportation, and telecommunications in this country difficult. Due to fragmented terrain, it has formed 12 different climatic subregions. The climate in the lowlands of this country is predominantly humid, temperate in the west with high humidity and heavy rainfall. The eastern part has a dry continental climate with little rain. These two regions have an average temperature of about 2 to 5 degrees Celsius in winter and about 22 to 24 degrees Celsius in summer, overall, being partly shielded. This area is warmer than the adjacent regions of Russia. In the mountainous regions, the climate changes according to the terrain and height, with snow and ice appearing year-round in areas from about 2,100 meters to above 3,600 meters. People and culture. The Georgians are considered an indigenous white people, not belonging to any major ethnic group in Europe or Asia. Georgians make up about 86% of the population, while the rest include other ethnic groups such as Abkhazians, Armenians, Azerbaijanis, Greeks, Jews, Ossetians, Russians, and Ukrainians. The official language of this country is Georgian. which is the mother tongue or commonly used by most of the population. Its writing system is very unique, looking somewhat similar to Greek, but it is a standalone language, not belonging to any alphabet we know. The initial writing system is believed to have developed around the 4th century when Christianity became the official religion. They have up to 3 extremely unique alphabets, so it is recognized as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Another thing is that although they want to be internationally called Georgia, Georgians call their country by a completely different name, Sakartvelo, the land of the Kartvelians. This is the lineup of the Georgian team participating in Euro 2024. Notice that most players have similar names with 2 common suffixes, Shvili and Ds. This might be a curiosity for many. It is explained quite interestingly by locals that due to the independence of the Georgian language, the regions and people in this country have a very unique naming convention. Both Shvili and Ds indicate that he or she is the child of someone or a descendant of a certain family. Ds is used for both males and females, while Shvili is used only for boys. For example, Nikolaides means a person in the Nikolai lineage, while Mama Shvili means a boy from the Mama family, so encountering people with names ending in Ds or Shvili is common in this country. Diversity is a hallmark of Georgian culture in all aspects, including cuisine, music, dances, ethnic costumes, and Georgians say they are proud of this. Georgia has a rich tradition of polyphonic music, which means combining multiple notes played simultaneously. Traditional Georgian music is also recognized as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Another heritage is winemaking. Georgia might be the birthplace of wine and the oldest winemaking method. In 2017, researchers discovered an 8,000-year-old winemaking site 32 miles south of the capital Tbilisi, making it one of the oldest known winemaking sites in human history. The temperate climate and winds from the Black Sea are reasons for the birth of the famous Georgian wine. Locals pour grape juice into earthenware jars and bury them underground during winter months. This is how ancient Georgian wine was created. Due to its rich history, religious life in this country is also diverse. It is one of the first 2 countries to recognize Christianity as the state religion in the 4th century. Today, about 80% of Georgians are Christians, mostly adhering to the Eastern Orthodox Church. The Georgian Orthodox Church is the most influential and powerful religious organization in the country. Islam is the 2nd largest religion in Georgia. Islam was introduced to Georgia when the Ottoman army invaded eastern Georgia and established an Islamic regime here. Today, about 10% of Georgians are Muslims, mainly in Abkhazia, Adjara, and other regions in the south. There are also many other religions such as Judaism, other branches of Christianity like Roman Catholicism, Protestantism, and local religions in the Caucasus region. Georgia only has 48 diplomatic missions abroad and does not yet have an embassy in Vietnam. However, they have a rather liberal visa policy. Most countries are granted visas through the internet. Holders of U.S. and Canadian passports, as well as many other countries, can come to Georgia without a visa and stay for a whole year. Economic overview. Since separating from the Soviet Union in 1991, Georgia has implemented many economic reforms to transition from a planned economy to a market economy. These reforms include privatization, tax reform, and simplification of business regulations. Therefore, this country is considered one of the most liberal and transparent business environments. Despite diplomatic ties with Russia being strained, the economy still has connections. When the war between Russia and Ukraine occurred, hundreds of thousands of Russians chose Georgia as a place to migrate and invest. Initially an agricultural country, agriculture no longer holds a large share of GDP and labor structure. Currently, only about 8% of the labor force is in agriculture, contributing about 8% to GDP. Viticulture and wine production are important sectors of Georgian agriculture. Additionally, tea and citrus cultivation are notable. Industry is gradually playing an important role, with strengths in energy and/or processing sectors. Georgia's main export items are copper, ferroalloys, medicines, fertilizers, wine, and crude oil. Although not a car manufacturer, the country also exports cars to many countries like Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, mainly through import and re-export, with revenue reaching about $940 million in 2023. In recent years, Georgia has become a major hydroelectric power exporter in the region with over a dozen operating plants. Georgia has electricity transmission lines connecting with Russia, Turkey, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Due to winter weather often below 10 degrees, they cannot entirely rely on hydroelectric power. Supplementary electricity in winter comes mainly from natural gas imported from the 4 neighboring countries mentioned. All of Russia's gas exports to Armenia pass through Georgia's pipeline system. This country takes about 10% of that gas as a transit fee. Georgia is part of the European Union's free trade area. They also have free trade agreements with China, Kazakhstan, Russia, etc. Currently, their largest trading partners are Turkey, Russia, China, the European Union, and the USA. The GDP of this country in 2024 is $33 billion US, with a per capita GDP of over $8,800 US. However, unemployment has been a chronic issue in Georgia since becoming an independent country. The unemployment rate was 21% in 2017 and has decreased to 14% by early 2024. Georgia is at the crossroads. The economy is generally bright but could develop further if not for its geopolitical sensitivity. It is a country with a long history but has been independent for just over 30 years. During those 30 years, it has been relatively unstable and often appears in the media with negative news. First, let's talk about the northwest region, Abkhazia. The region of Abkhazia is one of the areas with a long history and the presence of many different ethnic groups, mainly Abkhazians and Georgians. The competition between these groups has existed for centuries. During the Soviet era, Abkhazia was established as an autonomous region within the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic. However, ethnic tensions and demands for autonomy led to conflicts between Abkhazians and Georgians. In 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed and Georgia declared independence, Abkhazia also declared independence from Georgia but was unsuccessful. From 1992 to 1993, fierce armed conflict between Abkhazians and the Georgian army ensued. As a result, Abkhazia gained control of the region but was not internationally recognized. A ceasefire agreement was signed in 1994, but tensions continued with sporadic clashes. In 2008, Russia recognized Abkhazia as an independent state. Currently, Abkhazia considers itself an independent country with its own government, but the majority of the international community views it as part of Georgia. Besides Russia, 4 other countries recognize Abkhazia's independence: Nicaragua, Nauru, Syria, and Venezuela. There is still no peaceful solution for this region. The region of South Ossetia borders the Republic of North Ossetia of the Russian Federation. This region also has a large Ossetian population. South Ossetia declared independence from Georgia in the early 1990s but was not recognized, leading to armed conflict. From 1992 to 2008, the region was under the supervision of a Russian-led peacekeeping force. However, tensions persisted. On August 7, 2008, Georgia launched a large-scale attack on the capital of South Ossetia to regain control of the region. On August 8, the day of the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympics in Beijing, Russia deployed a large military force to South Ossetia, citing the protection of Russians there. The conflict quickly escalated, and Russia advanced deep into Georgian territory. Russia claimed about 1,500 civilians were killed. After 5 days of fierce fighting, a ceasefire agreement mediated by France was signed, officially ending the war. South Ossetia also considers itself an independent country with a separate government and Russian military presence. It is only recognized by Russia, the Republic of Abkhazia, and some countries like Syria, Venezuela, Nicaragua, etc. Most international organizations view it as part of Georgia. In 2022, the war between Russia and Ukraine broke out, drawing particular attention to this country in the Caucasus region. Georgia is oriented towards the west, but they do not want to create additional conflicts with their strong northern neighbor. Therefore, the government maintains a neutral stance on the conflict between Russia and Ukraine but seems to be caught between various public opinions domestically and internationally. The Speaker of the Georgian Parliament once said that some countries, both friends and foes, urged us to send troops to Ukraine, which would mean direct war with Russia. In early 2024, international media reported that Russia was intensifying its presence in western Georgia in the Abkhazia region. Russian armed forces began dredging activities at the port of Akamkaira on the Black Sea coast. According to a comment on Dan Tri newspaper, this new military base poses a risk of expanding conflict to other areas. Economically, while Georgia's GDP grew significantly from 2022 due to investment waves from some Russians migrating, they also face impacts from Western sanctions on Russia. Despite Russia being one of their economic partners, re-export activities to the Russian market have shown a downward trend in early this year. All of this means that Georgia's foreign and economic policies at this time, even with minor adjustments, could lead to major changes in the region. This channel does not typically address political or war issues, but since this is a major issue in Georgia, we provide an overview and basic understanding before wrapping up the video. Let's explore some of the major cities in this country to relax a bit. Batumi. Batumi is a coastal city in southwestern Georgia on the Black Sea coast, the capital of the Autonomous Republic of Adjara. Batumi is famous for its beautiful natural scenery and unique blend of modern and classical architecture. The city is not only a bustling tourist center with beaches, parks, and casinos, but also a major commercial hub of the country. Batumi attracts tourists with impressive architectural works such as the Alphabet Tower, a 130-meter-tall steel structure consisting of two parts resembling a DNA double helix, with 33 letters of the Georgian alphabet to emphasize the importance of the language as part of the culture. Another famous statue in the world is the love statue of Ali and Nino, built in 2010, consisting of two 8-meter-tall statues, telling the moving love story of Ali and Nino. During World War I, a man named Ali, a Muslim Azerbaijani, fell in love with a Georgian princess, Nino, but sadly, they could not be together as war broke out, and Ali was killed. This statue has high aesthetic and creative value. Capital Tbilisi. Tbilisi became the capital of Georgia in the 5th century and is known as the cultural center of the Caucasus region. Tbilisi is located on key routes connecting east and west, as well as north and south. This strategic position attracted various ethnic groups, making Tbilisi an international city with diverse languages, music styles, architecture, and culture blending. The old town with cobblestone streets, ancient Orthodox churches, and traditional wooden houses with balconies like the Peace Bridge and Tbilisi TV Tower. The Peace Bridge is a modern architectural landmark spanning the Kura River, designed by Italian architect Michele de Lucci and completed in 2010, with a bow-shaped structure and glass panels. The bridge creates an impressive image when reflecting sunlight during the day and LED lights at night. With a population of over 1 million, it is also the largest city in the country. Georgia is a special country located at the crossroads between Asia and Europe, blending majestic natural landscapes, a long history, and diverse culture. Georgia has great opportunities to develop and integrate into the international community, but also faces significant challenges that require a sustainable development strategy to exploit its potential and maintain its independence. Thank you for watching the video, and please remember to subscribe. Sincerely, thank you.